Russia's top generals have gone missing. Armed Forces Chief or Chief General Valery Gerasimov has not been seen in public for almost a week now. He is the commander of Russia's war in Ukraine, also the holder of one of the country's 3 so-called nuclear briefcases. But this man is now missing. Gerasimov, also missing is the former supreme commander of the Russian forces in Ukraine. What's his name? Sergei Surovikin. He was a friend of the Wagner boss, Yevgeny Prigozhin. In fact, they fought together in Syria and more recently in Ukraine. Did his friendship with Prigozhin cost Surovikin his career, or even worse, his life? The question now being asked is, did Surovikin have prior information about the Wagner mutiny? When Surovikin became the head of the Russian aerospace forces, Prigozhin celebrated his appointment, calling the general a legendary figure, quote-unquote, who was born to serve his motherland. Now, what are the chances Prigozhin ensured Surovikin was privy to his plans? Surovikin sided with the state, at least in public. When the mutiny started, the Russian general issued a public statement criticizing Prigozhin's actions. Let me just read out what he said. "We fought together with you, took risks, we won together, we are of the same blood, we are warriors. I urge you to stop. The enemy is just waiting for the internal political situation to escalate in our country." The Wagner mutiny did eventually die, but by then a lot of damage was already done. Russia was left with a red face. Putin's leadership was left with a dent. The Western press had a free run of spicy, source-based stories. The New York Times, for example, reported that Surovikin had prior knowledge about the mutiny. The Wall Street Journal, meanwhile, reported that the mutiny's goal might have been to abduct the Russian defense minister, Sergei Shoigu. Also, the head of Russia's armed forces, Valery Gerasimov. Over the weekend, the Wagner chief occupied Rostov-on-Don. His forces then started marching towards Moscow. The Russian President Vladimir Putin cried treason. The Wagner forces then turned back. Treason charges were dropped, and Prigozhin was offered exile in Belarus. And that is where he is believed to have landed 2 days ago. But where exactly is his friend? Surovikin has not been seen in public since Saturday. His whereabouts are unknown. Surovikin has not been in touch with his family either. No one has been able to contact his bodyguards. So the question is the Kremlin punishing the general for his supposed betrayal? Is he being tried for treason? Remember, this is not just any Russian general we are talking about. The Russian press calls Surovikin General Armageddon. He is one of the most capable Russian commanders. The Russian army respects Surovikin for his experience in Chechnya and Syria. The Western military analysts believed Surovikin could potentially go on to become Russia's defense minister in the future. But you see, all of that now seems up in the air. The Moscow Times claiming that Surovikin has been arrested. There is also a rumor that Surovikin is being held in Moscow's notorious prison, which is an age-old symbol of repression. It was built as a military prison in 1881. And back then, this prison would house low-ranking convicts. And this changed after the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution, when Lefortovo became a top detention facility for the Soviet secret police under Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. This prison would house, quote-unquote, enemies of the people. Torture chambers were built for them, where Stalin's secret police chief, Lavrentov Beria, would personally conduct interrogations and also oversee executions. Is Surovikin also being subjected to torture? None of this has been confirmed. There is no official word on where exactly Surovikin really is. The Kremlin was asked whether it was aware of the whereabouts of the missing Russian general, And this is what the Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov had to say.
Нет, к сожалению, нет. Это я рекомендую вам обращаться в Министерство обороны. Это прерогатива министерства.
Peskov was then asked whether Putin still trusts Surovikin. This was his answer.
Здесь, все-таки нужно, понимаете, здесь речь идет, он верховный главнокомандующий, и он работает с министром обороны, с начальником генштаба. Вот. Что касается уже структурных всех...
The word is that a massive purge is underway in Moscow. The Kremlin is reportedly trying to weed out the top generals, those who are not loyal to the Kremlin or those who fail to showcase decisiveness in putting down the mutiny. Two of Russia's top generals remain missing. Surovikin's deputy colonel, General Andrei Yudin, has been dismissed as well. So is this Vladimir Putin trying to ensure that history never repeats itself? WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.